Are you advocating a wall?
Well, I think I'm advocating a system, a barrier system. In some places, and I'd have to find out more about the situation since I last visited the border.
From what you know, or do you believe that a wall would address the concern that you have about drug trafficking?
Well, the wall certainly would, but in some places it may not be necessary to have, what most people imagine as a wall.
Are you aware that most of the drugs coming into the United States, in particular through Mexico, are entering through ports of entry?
Yes, but they also come elsewhere, and so do illegal immigrants cross the border. And
But
basically,
in particular on the subject of drug trafficking, are you aware that most of the drugs that are trafficked into the United States enter through points of entry?
yes.
Have you recently or ever visited a point of entry, a port of entry?
Not
The United States?
Not recently.
When was
I
the
used to
last
spend a
time?
lot of time, well, when I was Attorney General,
So a couple decades ago.
almost 30 years.
Okay. I'd urge you to visit again if and when you are confirmed. I think you'll see that a lot has changed over the years.
I met with the head of Customs and Border Protection. He said the number one thing we can do is to put technology in the ports of entry to scan the vehicles coming through. Currently, only 17% of trucks and cars coming through those ports of entry are being scanned. 17%. That means 83% of them are just flowing right on through there, bringing narcotics to Iowa and to Illinois. Building a new concrete wall from sea to shining sea doesn't even address this issue. Technology does. I want to reach the point where we open the government and have this honest conversation. Would you reconsider your earlier answer as to the fact that we need to build more barriers to stop narcotics from coming into the United States?
Well, it wasn't tied just to narcotics. It was tied to overall border security.
You said a major avenue for how drugs come into this country. It's not.
I said was
The
across
border.
the border. Wait a minute.
The border is the major avenue, but your answer was we need barriers on the border.
Right, and because we need barriers on the border for border security. Part of what we're trying to do is cut down on drugs. It's also illegal aliens. It's also other people from other countries who may wish to do harm in the United States that are coming in. And barriers are part of the answer. And from my experience, the threat is always dynamic. You put technology at the ports of entry, they'll shift somewhere else. It's a moving target, always has been. And I think we need a system that covers all the bases.
I think the reason we cannot reach an agreement with the Trump administration is fundamental to our exchange. And it's this. I don't disagree with you with the notion that barriers from sea to shining sea will at least slow people down. But when it comes to the next marginal dollar to protect kids in Illinois and children in your home state, it's ports of entry. It's technology to keep these narcotics out of the United States. And if we can't really start at the same premise based on reports from the president's own administration, we're never going to reach a point of bipartisan agreement on border security. So I think we're close to agreeing, and maybe it's semantics, I hope not, but I hope that we can agree that if we're going to stop narcotics, it's technology and personnel. The experts tell us that it's not a wall. And I hope that we can move from there. The last question I'll ask you, in a limited time, they asked me about your statements this morning, your testimony, and I thought they were good, responsive in most part. The one thing I'm stuck on, and many are, is this report you gave to this administration in June of last year about the investigation of the president.
You mean my memo?
Yes.
My memo, yeah.
And you said in there, Mueller should not be permitted to demand that the president submit to interrogation about alleged obstruction. You volunteered that. I'm trying to get around this. Okay. It sounds like it was an effort on your part to ingratiate yourself with an administration which is now nominating you for Attorney General. I'll give you one last chance. My time is up. Please respond.
Okay. Well, first, what I was saying there was, again, based on speculation on my part, was that there has to be an adequate predicate, and if he was relying on just the firing of Mueller or the statement about Flynn and this specific statute, those two things, I didn't think it was an adequate predicate. I wasn't saying He may have other facts, he may have other theories that would support it. I was just pinpointing that. Number
think you meant
two,
the firing of
I can
Comey.
assure you I was not trying to ingratiate myself with anybody. The furthest thing from my mind was coming back into government, I can assure you that. And if I wanted to ingratiate myself or signal things, there are a lot more direct ways of doing it than that.
For the record, I think you meant the firing of Mr. Comey. I think you said Mueller. Earlier.
Oh, okay, yeah. What did I say? Oh, yeah, the firing of Comey. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Just trying to help you.